Next on the agenda, we'll pop off the wastegate and see about taking a spring out because we're having an overboosting problem. Love you too, bud. We have an overboosting problem. So right now it's running up to 205 kPa. I believe, if my math is right, 205 kPa is like 15 pounds. And with a stock block 351, stock internals, I don't want to run 15 pounds. So we'll take out, I have 2 springs in there now. They're not color coded, so I don't know what they are, but we'll pop them out and then we'll throw in just one of the bigger springs, see if we can get down to around 10. What do you think, Leo?
Yeah, people. Yeah, we will too.
Goofball. Alright, let's throw this off. We'll throw it on the bench and take a spring out.
Look at that.
It's me turning on the GoPro.
What is GoPro?
It's the camera that I have.
The needle? Dad?
Hey, don't touch it, it might fall.
The white? This? The white. Come on. Home. What do we see you, Daddy? Leo, home. Leo.
Alright, so here's a good time to talk about it. So, the newer setups from On 3 are a little bit better than the old ones. Obviously, as the big name brands get better, unfortunately, the Chinese name brands are going to get better because they're copying. So, this is a really good copy. So what we have here is your exhaust side, mounted on. As your pressures are building inside the exhaust system, just like pressures are building inside the intake to make boost. So once you hit a certain pressure, this valve will open. When that valve opens, it lets the exhaust gas out of your wastegate, which in turn slows how your turbo spins and how it spools up, and it ends up lowering your boost numbers. As your boost lowers, then the exhaust gases inside also lower, and this valve will then close. Now this happens very quick, inside with letting exhaust gases in and out, but it's how you control your boost levels. So there is, on the inside here, underneath of this, if you want it boost reference to the bottom, it would help push this up. If you have this mounted on top, boost reference in here, it would help hold this closed. There's a few different ways you can control boost, a few different ways you can run it. This particular one is actually optional for liquid cooled, and that's why there's a couple things plugged off here. But if you want it just for boost reference, you could. I leave it open for atmosphere. I want to just run the springs for right now. I want to run springs to about 10 psi or so. Like I said, these aren't colored, so I'm kind of just guessing here. I'm okay with 11, 12, 13 even. But it was hitting boost cut at 205 kPa, and it was hitting it pretty hard. So I'm going to assume that it's just too much in springs because there's nothing else involved. It's all spring holding it down right now. So we'll throw this back on. We'll take it out. We'll run it through a little drive. We'll see how boost is being controlled. If we are good with where we're at, or even a little low, I'm going to run a reference line to the front of this with a boost controller. I run a standalone computer setup and run Mega Squirt, so I can get an electrical boost controller and kind of run everything through that and control my pressures that way. So I much rather have the spring on the bottom end of boost levels and feed pressure through. That way, if anything happens, I'm not going to have an overboost setup again and run into issues. So we took a spring out. We'll see where it sits. I don't want to put this is only a couple psi here. This isn't much at all. I don't even know if they would recommend just running that one. I can already tell that it's a huge difference just by decompressing it in order to run these in. When you're putting these back together, don't run one side all the way down and tighten it up. You always want to cross pattern almost anything when you're putting it together. So there's nothing I can think of. You want to torque down all the way to one side first. So what we'll do is I'll force this down. We'll tighten down this side and this side, and then I'll let it seat, and then I'll go diagonal, and then I'll tighten it all up all the way. Good. Alright, so it's definitely a lot easier to open it up. Like I said, if we took off, it's really our best bet here to leave the bigger spring in, take one of the smaller springs out. That's all this kit came with. I know they used to come with 3. They were colored. This one did not. So, alright, let's throw ring in there. Don't forget that. That's important. And then alright, so you have to compress this just enough with that spring pressure and seat this clamp on there. Let's make sure everything I can reach and get to. This is not exactly an easy process here. Alright. No. Sometimes you kind of just hold it. Alright, so far so good. Now when you are aiming this is going to have hot exhaust fireballs coming out of it. Don't aim it towards anything unless you're okay with getting it burned. Let's tighten this up a little bit. There we go. Make sure everything is good. Alright. Just tighten it up until just tighten up until you feel like it's not gonna come apart. It's gonna seal okay. Everything's good on it. Yeah. Let's throw everything back together and then see if we can get it out for a test drive.